The success of any company starts with a set of standards. Here, Glenn, at Davis Chevrolet, you have what's called the 5 pillars, starting with customer first, always.
Absolutely. So, we have a philosophy that it absolutely has to start with the customer. Without our customers, we don't need the infrastructure, the buildings, everything else that we have, including our people. So it has to be about the customer first.
As an employee, how do you gauge your employee to say, this is how you want to react to customers?
Always have to be thinking of how that would, how your actions, how your words would be, perceived by the customer, and put yourself in their shoes going, what would be the ultimate outcome or what you're desiring out of that interaction.
So you're also reading the customer as well?
In some ways, absolutely.
Because not every customer is the same. Fair?
Correct. Yeah, no, they're all very different. Yeah.
So part of your job is to understand that there are differences in customers, and the way you approach them could possibly lead to a successful sale.
Yeah. I mean, we are. It is about the sale for sure, but you have to be looking at what it is that they're looking for. What is it that they want? Whether that's for their service appointment, they're buying a part over the counter, or if they're buying a new or used vehicle from us.
Customer first, always. Pillar number 2, have urgency in all we do. What does that mean?
Well, I have a saying. The only thing that procrastination ever achieved was a to-do list. We always have to be acting with urgency, making sure that we're moving forward to that end goal of whatever it is that we're working on in that customer interaction at that point in time. Everything we do here at Davis Chevrolet is in some way connected and related to a customer.
One of the complaints that you hear a lot of people say is that it just takes too long. Mm-hmm. So is that what you mean by the urgency? Do you explain to the customer that, okay, we have a series of steps that we have to go through, or how does that work?
Yeah, we will definitely explain to them what the process is that we're going to go through if their car was in for a maintenance or for some servicing and repairs. But really, when we look at that, we have to have the processes in place. And we have to then take those processes and apply them. We have to look at efficiency and productivity of our people. We measure everything, right, to make sure that we're efficient, that we're productive towards that end goal of that customer is in and out as quickly as they possibly can be.
And it's something that the customer doesn't even notice, but at the end they say, boy, that was a reasonable experience. And part of that is because of the processes.
Yeah, but communication's important in that. I think too, if it's too quick and you don't tell them what we did, well, what did I just pay for? Right? That took a very little amount of time, and that can be a problem too. So communication is key, but above all else for us here is that urgency factor.
Have urgency in what you do, pillar number 2. Pillar number 3, always be promoting your company through actions and through words. And I know you've got a couple of stories. What do you love about this one?
I do. Well, our whole team are ambassadors of our brand. And whether that's here in the workplace or out in the community, and Airdrie's not a really big city. Lots of us have Davis wear. We have Davis Chevrolet on our shirts, on our jackets, and that's intentional. We want to make sure that we get our name out there into the public, but we also want to have people here that represent our brand very, very well.
So outside of this area, the confines of this building, somebody goes for lunch, someone may have an errand that need to run, and since they're wearing the logo, it's a reminder that regardless of where you're at, even though you may not be in this building, it's still important to remember that you are still representing Davis.
Absolutely. There's a certain amount of intentionality or mindfulness that goes with having that on your chest. And some of the stories that we have, and one of my favorites is we had a staff member not here in Calgary. He lived in Northeast, or not here in Airdrie. He lived in Northeast Calgary, and he was out grocery shopping with his wife. And they pulled up to a light after their grocery shop, and they saw a lady with a sign that said, "We'll work for food." And he took the moment to say to his wife and say, "You know what? They lived only a few blocks away. You continue on. I'm going to get out." And she said, "Well, what are you doing?" He said, "Well, I just want to go check and see what's going on with this lady."
Sure.
So he went and had a brief conversation with her, found out that she was struggling. She had kids at home. It was close to Christmas. He took her into the store, They bought about $150 worth of groceries. He footed the bill. She was in tears. She thanked him profusely. He felt good about what he had done and he walked home. What he forgot...
Not expecting anything.
No,
Yeah.
but what he forgot was that he had his Davis coat on, and we got a phone call about a week later from a lady, and it actually went into our Lethbridge office because she didn't know which of our 11 Davis dealerships he worked at. And we tracked down, it was one of our Davis Airdrie employees that had done that act of kindness.
Wow.
And that's the embodiment of, promoting our company through our actions and words. It's a great story. I love that one.
Pillar number 4, Glenn, seek continuous improvement. This is something internal, yes?
It is. The automotive industry as a whole is measured in every way. Every facet of our industry is measured. If we take that and internalize it, we're measured by General Motors. We're measured on social media by Facebook and by Google. We're measured by the Davis Automotive Group when it comes to our performance. And what that does ultimately is it gives us the opportunity to see where everything stacks up, and is there somewhere, whether through process or maybe people, or just changing anything about it, that we can make it better.
So it's not really a competition in the sense that you just want to further yourself so that you can be better for the customer.
Correct.
True?
Yeah. Probably the most important metric that we measure is our customer satisfaction index. And that's measured on two sides. It's measured on the sales side. When people pick up their new vehicle, they get a survey from General Motors. Every customer, regardless of what they're driving, who comes into the service department and we open a work order on for that transaction, they get a survey as well.
Pillar number 4. Pillar number 5, empower our people to own it and make it right.
You bet.
Okay, that's an interesting one. So you give me the keys to my car, whether it's been maintained or maybe I'm buying a new or a used car. But you want the salesperson, the employee, to go beyond that, yes?
Yeah, that's exactly what that 5th pillar is. And in some ways, as much as we have 5 pillars, and we look at that and say that's what supports our business, that was the intention behind having 5 pillars. In our minds, we almost draw a circle that pillar number 5 takes us back to number 1, which is customer first. So have you ever been in a situation where you've been dissatisfied with the service?
Sure.
And you're talking to an employee and they say, let me go get the manager, right? Well, here what we coach and hope to achieve, and I believe we do a good job of it, is that our people are empowered to own it and make it right for the customer without having to go get that manager.
So rather than passing that on to somebody else to take responsibility for it, you're saying to the employee that you take that responsibility if you want. So we give you the power to take it one step further for the customer.
Well, they really need to. We talked about urgency.
Right.
So that removes a roadblock of having to go get a manager. As an employee, would you rather say, hey boss, here's what I did, and I fixed it, and the problem's solved, or I've got a problem, can you help me out with it? So we found that the level of empowerment has really improved over time as people get used to that, because it's a real cultural shift from what people are used to. But what we're saying is, you're empowered, we trust you, make a decision, and tell us what you did afterwards.
In the mind of the customer, how does that customer feel?
They feel really good because we're attentive, we're addressing the concern and solving it on the spot.
You're not passing it on to someone else. So you are saying, I really do care for you.
And I can do something about it.
Pillar number 5.